Hi everyone, I'm Joe Auriemma, and this is Pinstriped Weekly, exclusive to YesNetwork.com. Joining me as always is Glenn Giangrande, and Glenn, let's jump right into it. The Yankees have had some second half surge. They've just won at basically a 70% clip. It's unprecedented.
It's been absolutely tremendous. I mean, when you think about how bad this team looked in April and May, I mean, they were written off by so many pundits and journalists, and for them to come back and have the amazing surge that they had, it is truly remarkable. I don't think that Joe Torre is going to win Manager of the Year honors in the American League, but I definitely think he deserves some consideration for this.
I mean, you look at it, and what's impressive is, yes, they have basically come back from a 14.5 game deficit from the Red Sox. But even more impressive, they were 8.5 back at All-Star break in the wild card, and they had to jump 5 teams. They are now 5.5 ahead in the wild card. That's a 13-game swing in a very short time.
It's tremendous. And when you look at the recent history of some of the wild card winners, how they've gone to the World Series and won it in several cases, it might actually be a pretty good thing for the Yankees to get in as a wild card team if they do so, if they're unable to overtake Boston.
I mean, you look at some of these other teams, the Seattles and the Detroits, they have an under 500 record since the All-Star break. So a lot of these teams actually have come back to earth, while the Yankees have just played out of their mind, and they truly have earned that playoff spot.
The Yankees, they really they surged right before the All-Star break, and they were red hot coming out of the break. But where I really give them the most credit is in late August and September, because that was a time at which the Tigers were rolling as well.
Right.
They had went through some problems, and then they got on the right track. But when Detroit got on the right track, the Yankees were red hot. So they did an excellent job staving off the competition.
Right. Well, speaking of the postseason, now that the Yankees have all but clinched the postseason spot, let's talk about who might actually be on this postseason roster. I mean, we know the A-Rods and the Jeters of the world are going to be on this postseason roster, but who are some of the fringe players?
Well, the return of Doug Minkiewicz, that's kind of muddled the picture at first base a little bit. I know there were some instances on our Yes broadcast where Michael Kay broached the topic about possibly, Minkiewicz or Bettermeat. Can they both be afforded to be taken?
Right.
I think there would be room for both of them. Shelley Duncan, I think, will be on as a power bat off the bench. One guy, though, you have to take everything into account. You have to take in finances. You have to take in just other circumstances, being a veteran and such. Kyle Farnsworth. So inconsistent this year. Joe Torre doesn't trust him. I don't know if this guy really has a playoff role.
I mean, have you seen him even lately? I mean, he went through that stretch where he was pitching pretty well, and now he's come back to where he was at the beginning of the season. I don't know. He's definitely a fringe player. Let's switch gears. A lot of Yankee fans like to talk about possible playoff matchups. Let's talk a little bit about each of their opponents in the postseason. They can only see the Red Sox in the ALCS. The Angels, they're a team that's, given the Yankees fits over the years. And the Indians are a team that, a lot of people are kind of saying, oh, I'd love to see the Indians in the first round of the playoffs. But do Yankee fans really want to see the Indians? Could it be a Tigers of last year's situation?
Well, judging from the regular season, I think Yankee fans would obviously want to see the Indians because the Yankees won all 6 of their games against Cleveland, sweeping the season series. A lot of fans did want Detroit in the first round last year, and that burned them. I don't really think that the Indians would pose the same kind of problems that the Tigers did last year because, for the most part, Cleveland more of a finesse team outside of Sabathia and Carmona.
In a short series, you just said Sabathia and Carmona, in a short 5-game series, couldn't those two guys really pose a problem? I mean, those guys are, Sabathia's a Cy Young candidate, Carmona's a Cy Young candidate. They've both had unbelievable years. I mean, couldn't that be a cause of concern for Yankee fans here?
Well, Cleveland definitely could cause some problems in that regard. Sabathia, a power left-hander. The Yankees had some issues with left-handers throughout the year.
Now, the Angels, we obviously know, Vlad Guerrero, Garrett Anderson burned the Yankees for that 10 RBI game earlier in the season. And if you have to play the Angels on the road, the Yankees have always had a problem with the Angels. What else could we expect from a Yankees-Angels series?
Well, the Angels, they're more of a speed-oriented team. Of course, Sean Figgins, giving the Yankees fits through the years. Orlando Cabrera, going back to his time with the Red Sox. Reggie Willett's a rookie who brings some of those exact same tools to the table. As I talked about with Cleveland, mentioning the bullpens, the Angels have had some issues in their bullpen, and Yankee fans, if they go by past history, they may be like, uh-oh, Francisco Rodriguez,
Right.
Scott Shields, we've got problems. K-Rod's been solid, but
Right.
Shields has not been effective in September. He's had his problems, and the bridge bridge in front of Francisco Rodriguez, rather, very shaky.
Thank you very much, Glenn. This has been another edition of Pinstriped Weekly. Please come back for all of your exclusive Yankees, Nets, and sports around the world, only at YesNetwork.com.